Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron joining us all the way from China.
Hola. Oh, no, he said that.
What? I said that's my line.
But wait.
We
You're like Konnichiwa or something, aren't you?
That's Japanese.
That's Japanese? Okay, I don't know where the hell he is sometimes. He's all over the map.
I'm Beijing, so it's ni hao.
Ni hao.
Ni hao.
So before we get into our soccer chats and the beer that Ferris brought, Ron, you said you had some beer info.
Yeah, I was. So I'm in Beijing this week, and I've been going to a lot of restaurants a little further out than I usually have, and the beer selection in the restaurants has exponentially gotten better since I started coming here in May. For instance, in a restaurant called Din Tai Fung, which is a dumpling restaurant, they have Sierra Nevada, like a bunch of Sierra Nevadas. They have Goose Island IPA. They have a whole bunch of other Belgian beers like Carmelite, and they have Chimay, and I didn't see most of these beers 9 months ago when I started coming to China. So the beer world out here is exploding. And I'm not going to have time on this visit, but I found 2 craft breweries in Beijing that the next time I'm out here, I'm going to go visit and do a little tour of. But the craft revolution is really starting to hit Beijing. It's very interesting. Before, there was just a lot of Belgian beer. Now, there's so many other, almost every restaurant I have found has every type of Erdinger that Erdinger makes.
That's cool.
9 months ago, that wasn't the case.
I'm not as
the beer culture out here is huge.
I'm not as surprised when you talk about the Erdinger and stuff. I'm really surprised to hear like Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that is that is a large of the microbreweries here in the States, but like still that surprises me.
Yeah, there's a lot of some of those. Everything's in bottle, of course. I didn't see any kegs of any of that, but there's a restaurant right around the corner from my hotel that is kind of like a Whole Foods market, where everything is super fresh and super healthy, and the amount of bottled beer they have there is absolutely crazy. They have Pacifico, they have Corona, it's amazing. I knew you'd be.
Ferris's reaction was great.
I knew you'd be happy about that, Ferris. So the beer culture here is exploding, which is really, really good. I was talking to one of the bartenders, and they said that they can't keep Sierra Nevada in stock long enough. And sure, some of that's tourists, but a lot of that's going to be locals.
Oh yeah,
so
that's going to
that's a pretty interesting thing to see.
That's so crazy when you think about what would have seemed very American to anybody over there was a Budweiser, right? And now you've got like Sierra Nevada and like all that craft beer out there.
Right.
I mean, that's so crazy.
And I have yet to see any Budweiser, Coors, Miller Lite. I've yet to see, and it's entirely possible that I haven't hit every beer establishment in the city, so I'm sure it exists somewhere, but I haven't seen it in any of my normal travels.
Well, and you mentioned
it's pretty interesting to see how the culture's going.
You mentioned Goose Island, but aren't they owned by Budweiser InBev now?
Who?
Yeah,
Goose Island.
Goose
Yes.
Island?
Yeah.
Their company is. Yeah, their company is. But it's interesting that it wasn't Bud Light.
Oh,
it was
sure.
Goose Island.
Yeah.
So it's still interesting to see that it's not the normal American 3 kind of thing.
So we got to franchise out a Chinese Brewtiful Game. Cover the Chinese Super League now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm supposed to be moving here, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there we go. We franchise this thing out.
Done and done.
Now, Ferris, you brought beer, but we're going to wait.
Yeah, we're going to hold that.
Because Ron has got a time limit with us, and we want to get into the soccer talk. because we've a bunch of Premier League and probably talk a little bit of Champions League as well.
And some MLS.
Yes. So, on up to match week 30 for the Premier League.
Wow.
Which, for those of you counting, means we've got 3 match weeks left until Man City are the champions.
Yeah, assuming they win.
Yeah, assuming they win all those.
It's a pretty good assumption, though.
Yeah. So first up
And
is
if I recall their schedule is not all that difficult in the next 3 weeks.
I do want to say one of those matches I think may be against United. It may even be the third match or the second match.
Oh man,
not that that's very hard.
But if they got crowned champions against Man United, that would their fans would love that.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be interesting?
Speaking of Man United, that's our first match. Man United versus Liverpool.
I was so happy. I woke up at 6:30 because I was an hour behind. Woo-hoo. Or ahead. I don't know what the hell I was. Oh man, I loved it. What a awesome first half. One of the best first halves I've seen from United all year. Just man, oh man, they look good. Rashford, a double in the first half. His first goal, and just the play from that was brilliant. De Gea with the long ball kick, which is a good way to play against Liverpool, who want to play very high up and make you pass the ball out from the back. De Gea just punted the ball along. Just a normal goal kick. Lukaku kind of bullied, was it Lovren, I think? Yes. Kind of bullied him and got a head-on flick to just this oncoming speedy 20-year-old down the wing. And Rashford kind of took a bit off his head, put the ball down on his feet, and then cut the ball back beautifully and just curled it around the keeper. And just for 20 years old, playing in the biggest game in terms of the biggest rivalry probably in the Premier League, millions, billions watching, and for him to do that so calmly and just slot it home.
I gotta be honest, before he even scored his second one, when he scored that first one, the way that he did in the 14th minute, I was like, oh, this could be like 3-0. Like
it was looking that way.
And technically, you guys did score 3 goals.
Yes, that was. Yeah, we did.
I liked what was your headline? United were so good in the first half, they decided to score for Liverpool.
Yeah,
with an own goal in the.
And that own goal was a thing of class. I don't know if you saw it. Like it wasn't just like a off the knee and in. Like Bailly had a great game. He was a rock at the back. He went to I don't know what the hell he was doing, to be honest with you, but I think Sane crossed the ball in. He went to jump and both legs were in the air, but somehow his turning right foot kicked it in while he was in the he couldn't do it again if he tried. 9 out of 10 times he would not be able to make that goal.
Cahill was very jealous.
Oh, Cahill was like, that is some mad skills, bro.
Yeah. That was a class Cahill goal.
Oh, it outclassed the Cahill goal. It was great, but yeah, no,
I don't know. He's had some pretty good own goals.
Well, yeah, if you think of the other end of the spectrum, this was like Suarez could do that on the right side of the pitch and put it in the back of the net. But very good game from United. I'm sure we'll talk a little Champions League with them.
But it puts them in second now.
Yeah, kind of firmly in second, 4 points ahead of Tottenham, and drops Liverpool down to fourth.
With Chelsea nipping behind by 4 or 5 points. How many points does Chelsea have right now?
I think it's 56.
We're at 56,
yeah.
So
okay.
We're 4 points out of the top 4.
Which just still.
Well, no, actually, with goal differential, you're 5 points out of it, because that would just tie you with Liverpool. You'd actually need an extra point. If they had 4 more points, they'd be at 60 points, but Liverpool has 34 goal differential. Chelsea has 25. I'm saying you'd need the 5th point to actually sneak up into 4th. And to be honest, I mean, with Liverpool and Tottenham at 3rd and 4th, I mean, Chelsea could fight that back up easily into the top 4. So,
I'm not as confident about that one.
I would agree with you there, Ron.
Well, it's just that Liverpool a little hot or cold. I think it's going to be a very end of the season who is on the streak. I mean, Liverpool is not.
I don't know. With the way things are going in the Chelsea front office, I don't really
But you won.
No one really has that much passion.
You won a gallant victory,
Yes,
2-1 against the mighty Crystal Palace.
Gallant, the man says.
I mean, look, Crystal Palace is almost out of relegation.
Crystal Palace. Yeah, but Crystal Palace is the giant killer team. You know, like even last year they show up against the top 6 teams every time, and then they lose to Southampton and West Ham, but they show up against the top 6 teams and always give them a hard time. So I never count out a Crystal Palace game.
And they had
we
goal
managed to do pretty
early.
well in this one.
Yeah, but didn't Palace had a goal like earlier in the second half that was called not a goal? And it was kind of like, why wasn't that a goal?
Yeah, well, it didn't cross the line. If I'm thinking of the correct,
I thought it was off
the
a
correct
corner.
one you're talking about.
I thought it was off a corner, and then there was a mysterious foul that happened in the box.
Oh yeah, there was a shoving or something.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, and it all got it got called back. But Willian continues to be one of the few people on the team with any passion of late.
He's been playing great.
And he's in a great run of form, which really means he's just auditioning to leave.
Well, I mean,
in my opinion.
So what's the problem? Is this the future that Ferris has to look forward to? Did Jose Mourinho leave Chelsea in just a crap situation?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because Jose Mourinho leaves, Antonio Conte comes in and wins the championship. So I really think it's more about longevity of the manager in the front office.
You get the vibe
we
that they're
do
not
whatever
letting,
it takes.
they're not letting him do what he wants. That's the vibe I'm getting from the front office to Conte.
Yeah, I agree. He's been trying to make moves and get players, and the board is. I don't necessarily know that they're playing it safe, but they're certainly not allowing him the freedom that he needs to keep the team competitive over a long haul. And there's a lot of reports about Abramovich meddling in the wrong places and not being where he should be. So Chelsea's got a real uncertain, an uncertain off season. Because if you think about it, most of the managers we've had in the past almost 10 years have been 2 to 3 year deals. We do extremely well the first season. We peter off the second season. We sack the manager. We do very well the next season with a new manager. And that's the pattern that Chelsea are in right now, at least for the past 3 managers, Conte being one of them. So there's some interesting things that are going on. It feels like Chelsea put their foot to the pedal in the front office there. They do extremely well and win a championship. And then the next year they go, well, we don't need to do anything. We won last year. And so the team kind of deteriorates. And if you think about Conte's behavior, Antonio Conte's behavior last season, when we were scoring clutch goals, to win the game in the last minute, he's crowd surfing. He's like ripping off his blazer, swinging it over his head, being the most enthusiastic coach I think anyone has ever seen. And this year, when we score a clutch goal, he barely cracks a smile. So there's a lot going on that's really hampering Antonio Conte's ability to effectively manage that team. And it shows in our play.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be there for next season. I don't think they'll can him before, but I don't think for next season.
Do you think do you have to put, I think you have to put some of this on Conte, though. I think the way he handled the offseason with Costa, I think that kind of left a sour taste in the team's mouth, if reports are correct. I mean, I know Costa wasn't the most liked player across the league or with fans, but from all accounts, in the locker room, the players loved having him on his team. He was one of those, you love having on your team, but you hate playing against. And
Chelsea desperately needed a striker.
Yeah, the way he kind of handled that, I think they kind of just set the season off on kind of a sour note.
Well, I agree with you on that. I also wonder what the front office role in that was, because reading all the reports about how that was handled, it just doesn't quite add up. Because so the two of them obviously don't get along, Conte and Costa. But it went from 0 to 60 very quickly. And during that time, the board and Abramovich were already having problems. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly what the entire picture is, because of course in the press you only read the sensationalized information, and that's the stuff that makes headlines. But what isn't making headlines is the meddling of the board or the lack of support from the board. So yeah, and at the end of the day, I do agree with you, Ferris. Conte has to handle things a certain way, but I wonder what the external input for all that was.
Yeah, I don't mean, do we know probably 60% of what actually went on? Probably not. Will we ever? Who knows? Maybe somebody does an expose book or something.
What will be telling is there are plenty of clubs that would take Conte in a heartbeat. So what will be telling is where he goes to next and how that works itself out. Because any of the clubs that would take
there's rumors about the Italian, right? There's rumors about the Italian national team, and there's a few other rumors, but most of those are unsubstantiated.
Did he already coach the Italian?
Don't we still need a coach in the U.S. for the men's national team?
Yeah, right. Louis Van Gaal's available before him, though, I think.
Conte, Arsenal's next coach.
I think wherever he goes, it's not going to be in the Premier League.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't get that kind of feeling. But
yeah, I don't think it's going to either. And then you wonder what's the future for Chelsea. We have an amazing squad, but who's going to stay? I guess is the question. We have Murata, who at the moment can't find the net with a GPS, a flashlight, and a map. Giroud is when he gets on the pitch, he's giving it a go every time, whether the rest of his team is or not.
Welcome to having Giroud on your team, because that's how it was at Arsenal too. You come in at the end, you're like, I feel like maybe he should start the game. I don't know. Yeah.
And I think he hit the post in this game like 3 or 4 times. He couldn't buy a goal in this game.
He just could not. I mean, and he had a beautiful look on goal from a Pedro cross, a really nice ground skipping cross from Pedro, and just a beautiful look on goal, and then it rattles the post. It was so disheartening because you saw in his eyes like, oh, this is perfect, and then wrong.
I thought you were going to say he had a beautiful looking. And I was wondering where you were going to go with that. Like,
see, my brain went to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation again. It's a butte clock. I don't know. That's why I heard
the lights are not twinkling.
That's what I heard in my head.
I know, Art, and thanks for noticing.
And in my head, Christmas Vacation never stops playing.
Nope. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what the off season holds for the Blues. That's for sure. And I think Hazard, you probably could see go to Real Madrid. A lot of talks of that, or even PSG. You could also see him go there. I'm
really worried that we're going to get picked clean.
But I mean,
because if you think about it, every other year for the past few years, we've had a crap season. We won the championship in there twice, but are people just going to be tired of having a great year and then a crap year and then a great year and a crap year? So I really think you could see Willian going. I think you could see Pedro going. I think Hazard is basically all but gone.
David Luiz.
Right? And that's a huge, David Luiz, because he's kind of at his own fault for where he's sitting right now.
Right.
Because he just couldn't hold up, and due to injury, due to maybe some attitude, but Christensen just has outplayed him for that role. So but I agree. David Luiz could split. Murata is probably going to go. So that's like
where
5 to 6
go,
players.
I don't know if he. I mean, he just came in. It's not unheard of for a player just to come in and then leave. Look at Di Maria a few years back with United. But where would Murata go? Back to Italy, Spain?
I don't know. There is some grumbly rumors about going to the French league. So I don't know, but that's still 4 to 6 players of the attacking core. That would just be gone.
It's Chelsea runs the risk of next season being the New York Jets. We're in a rebuilding year again.
And again.
Again.
And again.
And again. Yeah.
And to be honest, the person I'm most afraid of losing is actually N'Golo Kante.
I would too be scared. I mean, he's if not the best player on your team, one, 2, or 3.
One of the most impactful, though.
Yeah. And you didn't even, I don't think you mentioned, but Courtois could go in goal too. A lot of talk of him going overseas, and that he's a top goalie. So who would you bring in at that point?
Better check might be available.
Yeah, right.
Brad Guzan.
Get old Brad Friedel.
Brad Friedel, that's what I was gonna say.
Just bring him over from.
He'd come out of retirement. Come on. Oh, jeez.
Come have a pie and play in the net for Chelsea.
Oh God! If I got that offer tomorrow, I'd be going.
Hell yeah!
That sounds like a great offer.
We'd actually put blue on. I'd go, well, from
and then we. Sorry, I was just going to segue into Champions League real quick.
Yeah.
Arsenal did. I'm sorry, not Arsenal. Chelsea did. Basically, didn't show up again against Barcelona.
The first game they did,
is all basically expected.
The first
game, in half of the first game they did.
Yeah, but I mean,
and then of course
Barcelona right now.
It's Barcelona.
There's no shame in going out to them.
No, I agree. I think it's more in how we went out, because in this latest match, if I'm not mistaken, Messi scores a brace, which who's going to stop Messi from scoring? We just didn't want it. It's like we came into the game knowing we were going to lose, so we didn't really give it a go. As opposed to if Barcelona's going to beat us, then we're going to go down swinging. But they didn't. They just kind of were resigned to their fate. They were, you could tell they weren't hungry. They were second to every ball. They were just a lot of lazy turnovers, a lot of lazy passing. So I don't know. I would have liked to have seen us go out just on the front foot. That's all.
Well, and that was kind of.
But Chelsea's out.
Yeah, and that was kind of systemic to the is that the
endemic or endemic?
Systemic.
Systemic.
There we go.
I got there at some point.
Etymology is our other podcast.
Yeah, right. To the Premier League clubs for this week in the Champions League. United played another team in Spain, not Barcelona. I think number 5 in Spain, Sevilla. And first game, we were terrible, 0-0 in Spain. They probably should have won, but it gives us a chance. We go home. We think it's a fortress at Old Trafford on a Tuesday night, Champions League night. No, United were spineless. They just got beat 2-1 and I mean, going out to Barca is one thing. Going out to Sevilla, who is a quality club, don't get me wrong. They are a very good team. Had a little bit of a rough year in the league, but they have some quality players. They're a good team, but United at home, you'd certainly figure with the likes of Lukaku, Pogba, Sanchez, I mean, De Gea, that they would muster up something and not give up. They were down 2-0 at one point. I mean, it's not good. But United definitely
that was a rough game for United.
I didn't actually. I recorded it, and I think I told you guys, hey, I'm gonna try to watch the game when I get home. I couldn't even make it home to see it because shortly after the game, I started getting tagged in all of these Facebook posts, and they all seem to be coming from Liverpool fans that I went back and forth with them on Saturday, and they clearly reminded me that United was no longer in the Champions League and Liverpool was. I'm speaking to Jason, Jared, Ross, Tony, Wayne, all you jackass. Yeah, thank
Way
you.
too many Liverpool fans.
Way too many Liverpool fans, but they all hit me up immediately after the game. So I knew right there that the result was not good, and I didn't even watch the game. I just took it off my DVR. But from everything I saw and some of the highlights, they were spineless. They don't deserve to advance, and I mean, it sucks.
Did you, Ferris, did you get to listen to Ray Hudson from Sirius XM? He has a 5-minute rant on Manchester United that is both. It is poetic. It is absolutely frustrated. He is so frustrated, and it's spot on. You should give it a listen. It's floating around. It was on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
Okay.
But it's a solid 5-minute rant that is very much akin to the Clark Griswold rant in Christmas Vacation. So,
and as far as I know,
you haven't heard it, you should
not a United fan, but just a supporter of.
He just loves the game.
He just loves the game,
Yeah.
and I did listen to a lot of post-match commentary in the aftermath of this loss, and there were a lot of those rants, and rightfully so. United got hammered by pundits, by fans, it's just ridiculous. I thought it was interesting, though. I don't know if you guys heard the quotes from Mourinho after this match, and I'm going to paraphrase a lot here, but he basically said, United have been in this position before. I've been in this position before, but as Porto manager when I knocked Manchester out, and as Real Madrid manager when I knocked Manchester United out. So in some weird way, he was bashing the club that he manages currently, but also giving praise to himself that he's the one that knocked him out in the past, saying that, hey, United has been here before, but it was at the hands of me. So it was such a I don't. Most people hated it. And
Classic
most people,
Jose.
Yes, most people hated it and were like, "How could you do that?" And the club's gonna be so pissed. I don't know what I thought. I'm like, that's actually kind of brilliant. How the do you think of that? Like, how did you you arrogant bastard? Oh man, but it was interesting, and he's not getting fired. He shouldn't get fired. None of that, but. It was interesting, and we'll see how he bounces back for the next 2 months and next year.
That is classic Jose misdirection, though.
Oh, it absolutely
because
is.
Now you're talking about whether or not he was good or bad for saying it, and you're no longer talking about the poor performance of the team on the pitch.
Oh yeah, he is such just
it's brilliant.
Yes, it is.
It's brilliant.
It's arrogant. It's brilliant. It's
Jose.
Shambolic. I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff, but it's Jose, and I'm glad.
That's why he's the best Bond villain ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And people aren't gonna like hearing this, but I'm glad he is our current manager. I know the style is drab and whatnot, but he does bring an air of greatness that he's trying to get back, just in a different way and a different style of play. But he gets wins. I mean, he's. I think there was out of the 6 or out of the 5 top 6 clubs that we played this. Like we've gotten a good amount of points. We've won 4. We've drawn. Like I mean, it's. In the big games, except for the one on Tuesday, he's played well. He won he got us into the Champions League via a different cup last year, and it didn't work out for him in this year, and he signs until 2022, I think, and I'm curious to see what he does for the next few months and going into next year. But I'm glad he's the United manager.
Hey guys, I gotta get.
Right quick before you go, Ron, I just want to give you the heads up that our buddy from All In Sports Talk, Steve, is actually in town. So I hate you won't get to hang out with him, but I think perhaps Ferris and I will be able to go grab a beer with him. So again, if you're just new to catching us, you can listen to us on All In Sports Talk, which airs. It's an internet radio station that airs a bunch of different soccer shows. And Steve Gennaro, he's in town. So in town with family, visiting the parks. We're gonna go.
Tell him I said hello.
Yeah, gonna go grab a beer with him tomorrow, I do believe. So we'll pass that on.
Awesome. All right, gents, you have a great day, and I fly home tomorrow, so I'll see you Sunday.
All right, man. Cool. See you soon. Travel safe.
See you, brother.
All right, take care, guys. Bye.
All right, dude. I love that we always chat with Ron from all over the world.
Yeah. I didn't even know where the hell. I thought he was in Japan this time.
Sometimes I'm like, we live boring lives.
I was just in Dallas.
Ron jet sets everywhere.
I was just in Dallas.
That's right. It was funny because one of the folks from All In Sports was like, "Oh man, are you guys?" And so I'm like, "I'm not. What are you talking about?" And then I was like, "Oh," and I saw your Untapped, and it was saying in Texas.
I had some really good. It was kind of cool. The hotel we stayed, the bar downstairs. It was kind of a small hotel, but the bar downstairs had 4 taps, all of them just craft beers, and then they had their cans. It was all just craft beers from around the area. There was no Bud Light there or anything that was a big...
You had some good check-ins on our Untapped.
Yeah,
if you don't follow us on there, you should, because you would discover these beers.
I'm trying to bring it up rather quickly, and I'm not the best at using this darn thing. But I had one from...
There was a bunch of stuff I had never had before.
No, it was all just local to the Dallas, Fort Worth area there. I had first night I got there, I had on draft, I had an awesome, this one was cool. It's from Revolver Brewing. It was a pale white ale. It was blood orange and honey. It was fantastic.
I love this blood orange phase that's going on.
There's a lot of it. Yeah, it's going around a lot.
But every one I've had, that blood orange pairs so well with a pale ale or an IPA vibe. Good. So good.
And then I had, right after that, I had one from Noble Ray Brewing, Tactical Combat Firefighter IPA. Real nice and smooth. I believe a bit of their stuff went to firefighters, cops, that sort of thing.
That's a cool name, though, like the Tactical Firefighter.
And then the one that I had the last day was on tap, and this one was stellar, man. This was the seasonal one that was at the... bar that I was at, Rar and Sons Brewing Company. It was a Scottish ale, wee heavy, Iron Thistle.
Oh, I was just looking.
It was quality, man. It was really good, and on a big tall
Iron
boy.
Iron Thistle is a great name too.
On a big tall boy draft, man, it was good.
Scotch ale, wee heavies, not something we've done a lot in here. I don't know if we've done one yet. I love that style. It's such a good style.
It was, and it was perfect because I really wanted to go to this bar there. I don't know if you watched the Discovery show, Fast and Loud. They buy and sell cars and make up cars. I'm not a car guy at all, but it's a cool show. Well, a little while ago, they opened up a bar and grill that's just there in Dallas because the show is based out of the Dallas area. So I had a little bit of free time my last day there because I was out there for work, and drove out there. Took a car out there, and Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. And I walk in, it is like a Texas style bar and grill, big bar in the center. Sit down, craft beer on one side. I look up, the Dortmund game's on the one of the big screens up there. Man, I was in
America. Beautiful.
It was America. This is a Texas bar with a Borussia Dortmund game. There probably wasn't one other person in the bar that could even name the two teams playing, but oh man, it was great. I sat back with the beer in hand and just watched the end of it. That was a hell of a game. There was 3-2 with like 3 goals scored in the last 2 minutes. The old the Chelsea
Batshuayi, yeah.
Why had 2 goals within like 10 minutes.
Man, Chelsea needed a goal scorer so bad.
Goal scoring machine.
And they gave, well, I guess he's on loan. Didn't totally give him up.
Right.
Yeah, ridiculous. Now, Oh, but speed up before we roll back. You've got beer.
Okay, so
because I'm thirsty.
Yes, this one
we don't usually talk this long without having a beer.
This is true. My mouth's parched.
It's too much pollen.
Yeah. So I was really surprised. I had to double make sure that we didn't have this beer before actually on the pot, and we had not. If you have not heard of this beer, you probably don't drink beer.
You might not walk down an aisle
that
sells beer in a grocery store.
Right.
Okay.
But
so you're going classic.
I'm going classic as hell. Being that Saturday is my favorite holiday.
Oh,
St. Patrick's Day.
It's St. Patrick's Day, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I got the classic.
Oh, my gosh.
Guinness Drought Stout. With
except it's draft, not draft.
Draft Stout, sorry. Well, I was
it's like that UK way of spelling it,
I was taken off guard because they're in these special edition cans.
These have the old classic art from like the 1800s. They used to, When I went to the, which by the way, if you ever get the opportunity to go to Dublin, the St. James Gate Brewery Guinness Museum and Guinness Factory is amazing. One, the history of Guinness is tied. It's founded in 1776.
I was just about to go over that.
So much into the history of Ireland that I went to that museum to go get a pint of Guinness and hang out for 2 hours. We stayed for 9 hours. It was like going to the Natural Museum of History in New York. Like that's how in depth the exhibits and stuff are. It was amazing, and you end it in a sky bar at the very top of the building. That if you cut the building in half, it would look like the pint glass, and the sky bar would be the foam. And you look over Dublin, and they pour you your complimentary glass of Guinness, and whoever's pouring it does whatever little artwork on top of it.
Yes, yeah.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's so cool.
And I wasn't really going to go into history because everybody should kind of know this, but looking up the history, you're like, wow, it's actually very interesting, as you were saying. Born in 1725 was the birth of brewing legend Arthur Guinness in Celbridge County, Kildare. He went to Dublin at 34, decided to work the brewing industry there, and that was in 1759 when he did that. I thought this was interesting. In 1752, Arthur inherits 100 pounds from his godfather, Archbishop Price, and sets up his own ale brewing in Leixlip County, Kildare. And then on December 31st, 1759, Arthur signs a 9,000-year lease on a small, ill-equipped property at St. James Gate, and starts to brew ale.
Yeah, 9,000-year lease.
Can you imagine signing that for your car?
That's
a long-ass time.
That's so crazy.
9,000-year lease. And that's was on the property where the St. James Gate is currently. That's insane.
Again, if you ever get a chance to go, it is awesome. It is a really, really, really cool experience. I'm actually super glad you went with a Guinness because you know what? I'm thirsty, and that's a smooth drink.
Oh, yeah, it is. But, well, hold on. Let me first pass.
And I love that it's the old art. And when you go to the museum, that's really why it made me think of the museum. The original artwork, a lot of is hanging up from these old advertisements where it would say like Guinness makes you stronger and all that stuff that they put up until the government told them you can't say that stuff anymore. It's true.
Yeah. But if you want more on their history, that was just the beginning. I mean, it goes back. It covers basically.
Oh, I'm sorry. This art's from the 30s and 50s. When I look at the can, that's when it's from of 1930s and 50s.
But yeah, if you want more on the history and how it got here and how it got to England and it just go and look at their site, www.guinness.com. You can go -US for the American
coolest
side of it.
gig. One of the coolest jobs I ever had was being a Guinness ambassador, and my job was to bring people into this room. We'd hand out Guinness. I'd drink Guinness with them and teach them. This was years ago, like right out of college. You couldn't have asked for a better gig, and I would teach them by the history of Guinness, and it was just a way to get people to like dig on Guinness. And when it was over, I'm like 23, 24. They're like, the people running it were like, hey, thanks. It was a good show tonight. We've got all this Guinness left over. Do you want it? Nobody else like wants to take it. And I'm like, 23, 24. I was like, yes, sir. And I filled up went to my car. I was like, can I come back and get more? And I brought as much Guinness as I could back to the house. That's
awesome. Real quick, you said something about the artwork. In 1929, a history of imaginative advertising begins here. The first press advertisement for Guinness appears featuring the slogan, "Guinness is good for you." Following its success, Guinness enlists gifted landscape artist and portrait painter John Gilroy to bring to life two groundbreaking, long-running campaigns, Guinness is good for you and My Goodness, My Guinness. The later features it features zoo animals, including the now famous Guinness toucan.
And I just would like to point out something. As the back of this can explains how to pour your proper Guinness. And there's a misconception that happens in American bars that drives me nuts. Now, most people, when they drink a can of Guinness, you can tell I worked for them doing this. When you drink a can of Guinness, it's got the little nitrogen widget inside.
That was created in, that was introduced, this was on the site here. That was introduced.
By the way, the nitrogen is
in 1988.
The nitrogen for Guinness is smaller bubbles than a carbonation. So when someone tells you, I don't like to drink Guinness because it's like having a loaf of bread. No, actually a Budweiser would fill you up more than a Guinness because the bubbles are smaller. But at any rate, so in the can, you're supposed to just crack the can, give it a hot second, and then just pour it straight into the glass.
Okay.
Like at a 45 degree, and don't stop. Okay. Right? You just don't stop. Now, this is true for bars as well on tap, and this makes me nuts.
Oh, and they let it settle and
They do that settle, and you don't have to do that. Now, and I will say, even some bars in Ireland I went to would do that, but like the ones that were like stamped, like certified Guinness, they'd cut it at a 45 and just pour the glass slow. And they would just, when you ordered a Guinness, they didn't rush it. Like you knew that you were ordering a Guinness at the bar, and you were going to wait a second because it was going to be done right. Because they would have to just stand there and hold it the whole time. But when you ever see people like put a spoon under it and all that, no. That makes them so mad. Like, no, this is how you do it. Like you pour it in the pint. Now it pours faster out of the tap. So you pour it like 2/3 to 3/4 high, set it for a second while you're getting your other stuff ready, and then top it off. But it's not like a halfway, and you don't leave it forever. Huh. So you would see the bartender when a bunch of people walk up, and it's in Ireland, so everybody drinks Guinness. They'd just be filling them up to 3/4. And the guy behind would be taking the money and finishing the last bit up and handing it out to people when they would go.
Huh.
So anyway,
I will Guinness. I will watch and I'll watch you, Mr.
Here we go. Crack.
Oh, that's a good sound.
And pour. Oh.
Crack. And pour.
And I will tell you, if you're a big craft beer fan, obviously, like Guinness, you're going to say it is nothing special, but the history of Guinness is super special. And considering that, yes, there's crazier stouts and things like that, but when you think of a classic stout, this is who you think of, the Guinness, and then the extra foreign stout, right? Yep. That's in the bottles.
And there is that.
That's a little widget.
Hold on. Before you drink that lovely dark goodness, how do you, a good Irish way to indulge in alcoholic beverages, a good way to start that is what?
Oh, I should have known. You got some Jameson.
With a shot of Jameson.
Now, which Jameson did you get?
Caskmates. The original, which was brewed in a stout barrel.
Because last time we did this, we did it with an IPA cask.
Yeah, and that's when it first came out.
That was really good.
That's when, that came after, I think, the success of their original caskmate, which is the stout barrel. Which you don't really know it's a stout barrel unless you knew when it first came out, because it just says caskmates on it. But when you read, onto it a little bit more, it says it's brewed in a stout barrel. So I have a lovely flask here, and I have a couple of.
You went straight up classic with the flask and everything.
Came a little prepared with a little.
You got a little shot glass and a little leather. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Too, so
you are so Irish American.
I don't mess about. I don't mess about. So I have the.
I'm very excited about this.
So yeah, I mean that was pretty much the history on the
Guinness has got a cool history. And all seriously, look it up. Like, I mean, just one of the first companies in Europe to offer healthcare to its people. There's so many things that aren't even about the beer itself that's totally fascinating.
These are just little.
Man, these little stainless steel shot glasses are awesome looking.
Travel kind of came with the flask here, and it's a nice little.
So first things first, I'll put the Guinness in my right hand and the whiskey in my left.
Yeah, for a second there, I was thinking about doing car bombs, but that could have gotten a little.
We'd like to keep this pod at a normal length.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Slanja. Man, that whiskey is so good.
Smooth and good. And then Slanja again.
Double Slanja. See, the thing for me about a Guinness, while yes, I try a lot of different crazier beers and stuff, there's something about a Guinness that feels like home. I always keep some in the fridge.
Good.
Because I can just it's probably the beer that most makes me like, if a day is crazy or like something like that, I can crack a Guinness, I can sit down, take a sip and go, there we go.
It is just
I love it.
And you think, like I think you said it earlier, the misconception is that Guinness it sits heavy. It's like
it's just dark.
A meal.
It's just dark.
Yeah. But it is a smooth, and it is just quality. And it's so yeah. I was thinking, man, it's St. Patty's Day coming up. Perfect kind of beer. I'm like, I can do some other Irish beer, but I'm like, I don't believe we've actually had Guinness draft on the pod before. I don't even know if we had any Guinness on the pod before.
We might have done a specialty. I think I did a Guinness wheat beer. Did I do that?
Or maybe that was just one we had during
Well, I'll tell you something interesting, too. The Guinness you can get across the world, you can't get here. When I lived in Japan, instead of a tall white can, I saw this tall green can of Guinness.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what's it? And it was an ESB, extra special bitter. Delicious. But they don't sell them in the States or the UK even.
That's crazy.
It was delicious. Loved it.
That's crazy. But I got a 4-pack here, so.
Oh, well, I'll be having the other one.
Because we have to do the shot before. And then
still a lot of pollen in the air.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of in the air, elbows, fists, and everything were in the air at West Ham versus Burnley. As you probably have the best headline here, which is Barnes scored for Burnley. They had 3 goals to 0 at West Ham. Barnes scores the 1, and then Wood scores the next 2. And the headline is Double Wood leads to a troublesome threesome for the Hammers. Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, the news of this game is, well, you know what? West Ham sometimes is competitive, sometimes they're not. They're obviously having a tough season this year. And Burnley was on fire against them.
Well, in the second half they were. West Ham actually had a very good first half, and they were all over them and had chances.
And I'd actually said that's the story of West Ham's season. A good first or second half that's too little too late, either way, in a lot of their matches this year.
The sad thing with this game, though, is it wasn't so much the scoreline. That was not the headline of this game.
For whatever reason, amongst a certain group of fans, it was the line too many for how bad West Ham has been.
The fans over there are not quite fond of the ownership and decisions that have been made and where the club has gone in the past few years. So it is a very strong, make their voice heard with words, actions type of fan base. The Millwall rivalry from back in the day, from the Upton Park days where some violence has occurred. It's have you ever seen the movie Green Street Hooligans? It kind of goes into a little bit of that. Obviously, it's a movie, but similar stuff has happened over there. And in the 80s, it was rough. But anyways, so that disagreement with the ownership and where the club has gone, when that first goal went in for Burnley, it just opened the floodgates to pandemonium. First off, a fan should never go onto the pitch.
No. If it's Burnley, not a bad team.
No,
like this isn't like it's not like Swansea or like Stoke or somebody came in and you know what I mean. I expected Burnley to win this game.
I mean, I think West Ham probably should have won this game. They're at home. Burnley hasn't been on a very good run, but
they're a better team.
Yeah. But nonetheless, that goal went in, and a fan came storming onto the pitch, confronted Captain Martin Oble, and in fairness to him, he fought back a bit. He didn't throw any punches or anything, but he defended himself. Yep. When a fan's coming out of the stand towards you, towards a player, this day and age, you don't know what the hell's going to happen. So he defended himself. He kind of like wrestled him to the ground and off the pitch and pushed him away, and kind of had to be held back, basically saying, get the hell off the pitch. This is not your place. Your place is in the stands. So that happened after the first goal. The second goal went in, and more came onto the pitch. Somebody took a corner flag, ran to the center of the field, and tried to stake it in the center.
I gotta be honest, I'm amazed the game continued on.
I am too at that point. I am too.
I thought they'd have just called it.
Crazy scenes. People coming onto the pitch every which way. The third goal went in, and it was just as worse. And it was so bad that there were kids in the bottom section were pulled out of the stands, and Burnley put them in their dugout to help protect them because of how crazy the crowd and the mob was. Just the vitriol towards the ownership and the club.
I don't know if you saw the pictures. It was the coolest thing, if there's a word, if that's the word to use it for this situation, was the photos and stuff and the video of the kids and the bench.
Yeah.
And the players sitting around them actually hung out with and chatted with those kids the whole rest of the time.
Yeah.
It was an awful situation, but that moment was so genuine there. And the players just, I don't know, the kids, stuff's going crazy. Maybe they're scared, and they just sat there. Everybody that was around the bench, they were just sitting there chatting to those kids the whole time. And it was a pretty cool moment because they all knew, like, guys, come on, this is like a game. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you listen to 606 and some of the stuff from over there and the accounts from the game, and it was just horrible to watch, horrible to hear. I know it's not all of the West Ham fans, but a solid portion of them in this match were just out of control.
But
and
I will say this: West Ham ownership, get your crap together. I'm not saying what they did was right, but like,
oh yeah,
like you guys, like you have an unhappy fan base. Fan base, don't storm the pitch. Instead, just don't show up if you want to make your voice heard or do one of those.
They may be forced not to show up because I wouldn't be surprised if the FA says you got to play a couple matches behind closed doors.
But you remember, like, was it last year, Southampton, wherever they did the walkout? That's what they should have done.
Yeah, not this. I mean, the one thing I didn't mind from all of this is there was a bunch of fans in like a concourse area below the owner's box, and they were doing slogans doing like chants and kind of saying their 2 cents to the owners up in the box above. I don't mind that, except there were things that they were saying towards him that were vile, that should not have been said. But if you want to stand there and have a chant about get out and not curse, call names that would make your mom blush.
You've taken your power away at that point.
Right.
That's what you've done to yourself. And now, now you actually create a weird situation where the board can't do a change, because if they do, it looks like it's because of the vile things that they did. Right. So now, guess what? If you had just done like a walkout or something like that, but because of this, nothing's going to change for you this season.
Right. And those type of things are the more peaceful, thought out.
Nothing's going to change. People, there are going to be some season tickets that open up for people.
Yeah, because they're going to get banned. They're going through investigation, looking at that again. I wouldn't be surprised if the FA comes out and says you got to play a couple.
By the way, we're one game into this Guinness, and I've finished half of it.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. Damn good. But yeah, if you get a chance to see some of the highlights in that game, I mean, but just shocking scenes, and we haven't seen that from England or necessarily football around the world. And wow,
but not in the Premier League in a while, especially like it's been all right, let's put the pedal to the metal, because we also got some other stuff we want to talk to once we get past Premier League. And to be honest, the next few of these games aren't much to talk about.
But the next headline is another
Oh, the next headline is a great one. No, I'm not going to skip that. Everton at home against Brighton Hove and Albion. There's an on goal by Bong, and then that goes for Everton, and then the second goal is Tossum in the 76th minute. And the headline is Everton hits Bong to go higher up the table. Ching.
I was quite proud of that.
And they're ninth now.
Yes, they are. They did actually go higher up the table. They weren't just always in ninth. I think they were down in 11th, and moved up to ninth via this game. Everton played well.
10 points away from relegation is probably a good spot to be.
Yeah, they were good. They're 3 points away from the mythical, magical 40-point mark. So Everton's going to be fine. Brighton, I think, are also going to be fine. Maybe it's close, but
yeah, they got. Yes, yeah. I think they're fine because of who is sitting in that bottom three or bottom even four.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I will say the Knockhart red card in this game, stupid. I mean, he was their player of the year last year. He has been far from that this year. He has not had a very good year, and I think you saw a lot of frustration come out. Stupid tackle, deserved to be sent off. He didn't argue it. He deserved every bit of that, but. I think both Brighton and Everton are going to be okay. At least I hope Brighton is going to be okay, and Everton's kind of a shoe.
I think Brighton Hove will be fine. Of teams newly promoted, we move on to Huddersfield, Swansea City, snooze fest. Swans hold on for a big draw after early red. I mean, with 10 men, only 11 minutes in.
Swans, yeah.
They just kind of sit back. Swansea City sitting currently at 14th, 31 points, 4 points away from relegation. Huddersfield, let's see, where's Huddersfield at right now? In 15th place with 31 points as well, which is the worst goal differential. Then Swansea, that's kind of all there is to say about that. Good job with 10 men to hold on to
I think there's a big match coming up this week. Huddersfield and Southampton, I think, play each other. Or maybe it's Huddersfield.
One of those 6-point matches.
Palace. Yeah, it's one of those games this week. So I think a draw for both is actually a good result, especially more so for Swansea, which probably feels like a win after a really early card in this game.
This moves on to Southampton, Newcastle, at home, Newcastle. 3 goals, one very quick.
Yeah.
And
it looks real good.
I like your headline, Mauricio Pellegrino out the door in 3, 2, 1.
He gone.
Boom.
Yeah, he got sacked a couple days after this match.
Done.
Real quick hiring, though, from them. Did you see who got brought in?
Oh, no, I actually did not.
Mark Hughes. Which I think actually is a really good signing for them. At least to keep them up this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if for the future it's what Southampton wants or needs at that club, just because they bring through a lot of young talent through the academy. I don't know if Mark Hughes is necessarily the person to cultivate that talent, but to at least keep them up, I like their odds better now than I did immediately following this game, if that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. Next match, West Brom, Leicester City away at West Brom. They cut it on, dude. 4-1.
West Brom, they suck.
Yeah, that's the headline. West Brom, they suck. It's true. Leicester now at 40 points in 8th.
Interesting stat in this, and something that I have not verified besides my own looking back. The past 3 years, since one of these players have been on the team forever, anytime Vardy and Mahrez score, they have never lost a game. If both of them score in a game, they have never lost a game. Both of them scored in this game, 1 and 2. There's been a lot of games where Vardy has scored and they've lost, or Mahrez has scored and they've lost. But if both of them are on the score sheet...
Was this match or the week before the really sweet Mahrez goal?
The week before.
That was the week before.
I think. There's a really sweet Vardy goal in this. Really sweet. Thankfully, he scored because he was my captain in fantasy. I needed that big time. But very sweet goal. And Leicester still have a lot of quality there. And they hit that 40-point mark. They're good. Remember, they were talked about kind of down below. West Brom, they scored early, and you thought maybe there's some hope for them to kind of get off the bottom.
No. At this point,
down.
Someone
need a miracle.
Someone put up the stats or the statistics of this. I guess the probability is the word I'm looking for.
Oh, there you go.
They're done. Where they're sitting at now with the 7 points away, or no, excuse me. 8 points away from being out of the bottom three. Really, that's 9 points because you'd have to eclipse Southampton if the teams above them do not score any points. It's like it's C-3PO telling Han Solo, the odds of successfully navigating an asteroid field exactly 3,701. Yeah. And Han Solo would say, never tell me the odds. But guess what? Han Solo ain't captain in the West Brom team.
No, he is not.
It is obvious. I think we got our Aston Villa secured. I don't think it's sad. West Brom.
Oh yeah,
been a mid-table darling for years.
I fully believe at this point that they would have been better off with Pulis still back there than making the switch for Pardo.
I bet their fans are arguing. I wonder if we'd still be.
It may have been boring as and they may have been long ball central, but they would. I guarantee you, they wouldn't be at the bottom, sitting on 20 points with a minus 24 goal difference.
Yeah, it's no bueno right now to West Brom.
Yeah, no bueno.
Next match, Arsenal at home. A very decisive victory against Watford, 3-0.
Just the inconsistency of Arsenal.
This was the last match.
Bafflingly entertaining.
This was the last match I could watch with my daughter where she wore her Arsenal kit that a friend gave us, the Infinite Arsenal kit. This is the last time because I think she getting too big, grown too big for it. But 3-0. I think the real awesome thing out of this was, Petr Cech finally gets his clean sheet. Now it's 200 clean sheets, the most in the Premier League.
Good for him.
The guy's had an amazing career.
Troy Deeney too.
Yeah.
Let's talk a lot of smack and stopped him.
That's actually the thing. Had his 200th clean sheet, stopping a penalty.
That's cool, man.
Man, that's awesome. So yeah, good for him. Mkhitaryan gets on the score sheet today as well.
He does, and so does Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who since he's been there has scored some goals and has looked.
We've had some problems with Mustafi. He even got on the goal sheet.
He got on the score sheet. He's definitely better on that end than he is on his actual defensive end of things. But Arsenal, they played well. Again, it's going back to just their inconsistency. And one week they look good.
Here's what's nuts. They just were consistent because their next match was in the Euorpa League, and they beat up AC Milan 3-1. Pretty definitively owned them.
Which they're going to need to advance and win that tournament to get into Champions League. And can Arsenal do it? I do think they can.
But Danny Welbeck scored a brace in that game.
One of them I saw was controversial. I haven't seen all the highlights as to why the penalty.
And Granit Xhaka is the other. But, I mean, that's after, 3 losses in a row for Arsenal?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is what was it when they first signed Aubameyang and they came out and they scored 4 goals against Everton, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Just came out and you're like, oh, this is the Arsenal that we want to see. This is invincible looking type team. But it's they lose these games they shouldn't lose, or they play very poorly in some games, and they win these games that you're like, wow, they look good. They look
Here's
great.
what I thought, though. I was like, oh no, here it comes. Arsenal finishes the season. They probably still don't get any higher than 6th, but they finish in 6th, but they win the Europa League. And then they don't fire Wenger because they got.
That's exactly what's going to happen. And this is such an Arsenal year where they start off really good, and then they kind of go up and down a little bit, and they're dropping games they shouldn't. And then at the end of the year, they come on strong, but by then it's too late.
Because if they advance far into the Europa League, fans are leaving like, oh no, if we win,
that's exactly.
They're going to keep
almost
him.
Like no. Yeah.
So
exactly what that is.
Although, at least as far as transfers go, he almost had a bad go, but has had a pretty good year so far. There were he was close to getting in trouble with the Sanchez and things like that, but they ended up working out. But I don't know. Isn't that sad? Isn't that true Arsenal life to be like, oh man, we could win the Europa League and get in Champions League. Oh crap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And automatically qualify, which would be.
And then it's Wenger in for another year at least. So moving on to the rest of the top 4 for Premier League, Bournemouth is home against Tottenham. Tottenham just poured it on 4-1 against Bournemouth. They just
one of their unsung players.
Bournemouth scored quick though.
Yeah, they did.
I was really excited.
It's one of those you don't want to score too quick, kind of like what West Brom did against. You don't want to score within a 10-minute range because that's too fast. If you score after that, it's fine. But Son Heung-min, just quietly, he is, I think I said it a bunch of pods ago, but he is, to me, a key player for them and just a linchpin in that offense that can add spark, can add quality, can add pace, can put the ball in the back of the net.
This is an interesting year, though, for me, for I think for them, in the sense that, again, they have a really great team, but they have a team that's actually going to go far in the Champions League or win the Premier League. It's going to be harder to keep these star players, I think, because I don't know if anyone would be convinced.
Well, they're knocked out of the Champions League.
No, I know, but I'm saying like for the next year, for right. Like so, after this season. Well, the players who are great and can be signed by other people, do they think staying at Tottenham's good because they think there's a chance of getting some trophies?
I think so.
I don't know.
Think so. I don't know who leaves. I don't see anybody that leaves. I don't think Ericsson's going to leave. I don't see Ali's going to leave. Son's going to leave. I don't see any of that yet. Kane could have left. However, a sad note in this, he got an ankle injury. It's going to put him out for the rest of the Premier League season until May, but he should be back for the World Cup, which is huge for England. That it wasn't worse. Had Kane not gotten injured and finished off the year good and had a good World Cup, you probably could see him go. And you still may see him go, but I think Kane's heart is with Tottenham.
I'd be surprised.
London. So I think you see players brought in. I don't think you see a whole lot go out that's necessarily vital to their team.
Let me rephrase what I said. I think next year they have to make a really strong push for that title, or that's when they start to lose these people.
Yes.
Because all these parts are in place. You'd feel very confident with what you have. But now would be the time to put up and shut up, or let's go do something different.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And the last match, talk about him away at Stoke City. Manchester City won. Who would have thought?
Silva.
So two goals. David Silva. Basically, they need 3 more games. They got to win 3 more, and they get crowned.
Which
is insane because then they get
probably December, November. We all thought they were going to win.
But they can run away with the record for the number of points if they just. I don't know if they'll keep going hard or I don't know. But
yeah, they're just a damn good team.
They're great.
They're having a great year.
They're so good that I enjoy watching them, and I hate to say that, but I love it.
Oh yeah, I agree. From a Manchester United fan, it's tough to watch because Manchester United, from all accounts, are having if City weren't having this good of a year, the title race would be a lot. It'd be up there. But they're sitting on 81 points. United's behind them on 65, but they have a plus 65 goal difference. United has a plus 35. That's filthy.
It's time to talk a little flight of MLS. I like that you put it there, but I think I need some more Guinness before we're going to do this.
Okay, let's.
So you prep up. You hand me a Guinness, and you prep up the Jameson there. But I can go ahead and start talking those. We go into a flight of MLS. Orlando City SC match. We'll talk about real quick. In the sense, storyline wise, it was one of the bigger matches in that Minnesota United came to Orlando.
Did you go to this game? Because I wasn't there.
I could not go to this game because we apologize for not having a podcast last week. But at the beginning of the week, Blake had 101.4 degree fever with the flu. Then when I got better, luckily my 3-month-old didn't get it, but my wife did. And then her family visited. And so I'm sitting here with them, and they were like, you could go to the game. And I just wasn't going to leave her mother there to take care of the baby alone, and Kara, who was sick. And I was like, that's fine. I'm going to stay here. So I hooked up to MLS Live, which right now is free because they're waiting for ESPN Plus starts in the summer.
Yeah.
So until ESPN Plus starts, and you have to subscribe to that, and then you get MLS Live through that.
Right.
MLS Live is just free online.
No kidding.
Yeah. So discovered that.
Yeah.
So then I went online, threw it on the big screen, and was able to watch the match with them. And then my wife's poor mother misses her flight back home because then she got the flu.
Oh, Lord, are you kidding me?
We went bap, 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 one after the other. So we apologize. I was so sick. I didn't even go online to tweet and say, sorry, we're not on. Like, it was a freaking medical ward over here for about 8 days. It was rough. But luckily,
am I in here right now?
The baby never got it. Oh, I love that
strong
sound.
Immune system from that baby. Which I get to hold for the first time tonight. So
yeah, I'll put a picture up. She was hanging out with the microphone for the first time.
Yeah, she was.
But yeah, so that was brutal, and because of that, I did not make the game. But again,
I didn't either.
MLS Live, folks, right now, if you didn't know, for free. And then, because I erroneously said in the last podcast,
erroneous on both counts.
I said that you had to get ESPN Plus now for MLS Live. That's true.
That's right.
It's just not yet.
Not until
since
summer.
ESPN Live doesn't launch till a month or two away. MLS Live is free, so you can watch truncated matches, all sorts of stuff. It's great. It's great. Cilantro, man.
Word, truncated. Ooh, SAT word cilantro.
All right, here we go. Bam, another bit of the Jameson. Even better tasting after the
nectar
Guinness.
of the gods.
Ooh, cilantro double with the Guinness.
Double.
Oh man.
Happy St. Pat's, everybody. Please be safe.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which,
I like to have fun and
you working
drink.
on St.
No,
Patty's?
but I always go home. It's a family affair. We have
Well, Ron flies back in from Beijing. So, but if you're going to home with your family, I totally understand that.
am.
We're looking at some different plans because he gets in the afternoon at two breweries we really dig. Crooked Can is doing their big one,
Okay.
and the brewery you and I discovered, who just finally opened up their place, Ellipsis Brewing.
Nice.
Because guess what? They're by the airport. So I was like, maybe that's where I should tell Ron we should go meet and do a little St. Patty's Day over there.
Absolutely.
They're actually doing a craft beer, green beer.
Nice.
So that they advertised on there. So I don't know. So one of the two will probably go to and check out that.
Well, whatever you guys do, be safe. That's one thing. I like to have fun. Yeah. Well, speaking of corned beef and cabbage, will Ma Dukes break the record from last year? Not necessarily the record, but the counts from last year. The counts from last year.
For the food she made for your. Oh man, your mom goes nuts for this.
In the Ferris household, 25.56 pounds of corned beef was made last year. 20 pounds of potatoes was made. 6 pounds carrots, 6 heads of cabbage. What will the numbers be in 2018?
I don't know, but I'm excited to find out.
I'm excited to eat that.
If you left over, you can bring that over.
Shindig, but been doing that for years. It's a family affair, and we have fun. But whatever we do, I can tell you right now, we don't drive. We don't get out on the road. Be safe. Please.
You're like,
yeah, no.
I don't even know where the car is in the driveway at that point.
For a while there, we were walking home. We were taking the Pine Ellis Trail home, and we took some bets and got lost sometimes and had fun. But be safe, have fun, have a good St. Pat's.
St. Pat's on a Saturday, and I don't know the last time I've had that day off, so I'm gonna go do either the Crooked Can. They got a bunch of bands that are coming, some Celtic music stuff, or go to Ellipsis Brewing. One of the two, though. I'm gonna go to one of the two. Try to have myself a good time.
Going to Orlando, they did not win this game against the old Coach Itchy, who had the last laugh in Orlando.
Like I was saying, the biggest storyline game of the week was this one for Adrian Heath, coach of Manchester United of Minnesota United, coming to Orlando City to play. I mean, on one hand, game, so. I was happy for Inchy.
Yeah.
I am still of the opinion that it was the right move to not have him because
I agree.
For whatever reason, it just didn't click with the players we had. Defense, I don't know. But I love the man for getting us to where we were. A lot of fans giving Orlando a lot of stick on this match, and here's my problem. They were talking about, there was a little change made to the lineup and stuff, but the fact of the matter is, if you look at the stats don't win games, goals do. So in the stat that counts goals, we lost. But stats wise, passing percentage, possession, passing accuracy, I should say, and possession, we were great. Shots, we were great.
20 shots. We were 4 on target. They had 9 and 3 on target.
And here's what the fans that are freaking out and already calling for Christ out, the head coach of Orlando, guys, we are missing 3 of our main offensive starters. I'm not saying that, look, if there are problems after that, then sure, you can call for the coach's head. But with those stats, it is very hard for me to, when missing, I think, well, if you had a Dom Dwyer, if you had Sasha in, this is a very different game.
Not even that. We're 2 games in to a long
And don't forget, hey guys,
season.
last year
yes.
we won the first 6 and then took a nosedive.
Yes.
I'd much rather go the other direction.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
But in all seriousness, it is, I am not saying, my jury is out. I'm not saying Christ is the man. He'll definitely get us there. But I'm also not saying he's horrible because you're missing too much. And he even said after the first game, you're going to see a very different team every week for a few weeks until we can get all our people in. And then even then, you've Dom Dwyer's coming off an injury. It's not like he's just going to walk right back in. You know what I mean? Like it's going to take a second.
And this is the year for Christ. We said it during our
dude. There's only
episode.
2 players left that we watched last. I mean, this is all his team now.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a big year for him, and he's really gonna. I mean, this is like I think we said in the podcast. This is shut up or put up or shut up time, and but let him get a full year of it. Let's see where we are at the end of the season, not now. Because it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a long year. You can avoid or you can afford to lose early and come on and win some games in the heat of summer, in the center of the year, and towards the end of the year.
Can I tell you why I'm not worried, my friend?
Give it a little bit of time.
Watching Justin Meram play and know that he's about to join Sasha Collection and Dom Dwyer. And then,
do you know what that is?
Man, our new captain, not new to the club, but Jonathan Spector, being a real leader on the pitch. I feel
you
very
just named
good.
the core of the team right there.
But don't forget about Muhammad.
He's great.
He is there. Man, like
what you named is a core of a team. You have Bendick in goal, Spector in the back, Sasha in the midfield, Dwyer up front, and then you have your
Justin Meram.
You have your playmaker there in Justin Meram.
I put Yoten on there. Yoshi.
Oh yes,
he's. I think
he could ping a ball around like nobody's business.
I'm. Look again. I'm not saying we're gonna own it all. Got to play the games, guys. I mean, I understand that, but I'm not worried yet because we're not seeing the full team. And with the stats that we had in this game, you add one of those few players, I think it's a different story for the game. So let's just wait. I'm going to wait till I see
a little bit of time. One thing, Justin Meram, I want to marry his feet.
Oh, dude.
His feet are insane.
You know, because I watched him on TV because he was at Columbus last year. But to see him in person, I mean,
I know so quick and skillful.
I know where
they are insane.
I know we're Orlando fans, but I will talk about that with any. When Giovinco came to play against us, we said the same thing about him. When you see class in front of you, you recognize it. Man, Miram's got some feet, dude. The way he can cut through people,
skillful.
Can we?
Oh man,
the thing I hated about this game. Can we raise a glass for former Orlando City player Kevin Molino?
What happened to him?
You didn't see?
No.
Kevin Molino, here to Kevin Molino, he not getting touched, fell on the ground. And when they did the replay, I looked at him and he wobbled left and right on his left leg when he went down. I went, oh no. Sure enough, torn ACL out for the season.
Oh no.
And that's now twice that's happened to him.
Oh. Yeah, you don't want to see anybody go down with that type of injury.
No, for those of you not familiar, Kevin Molino was with us when we were in the minor league in the USL here, and he was with us into MLS. His first year, he started great, and then tore his ACL, and he missed his rookie. So
he tore his ACL that first year in a friendly game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and this one was no one touched him. He landed, wobbled.
Oh no!
And when I saw the wobble,
I thought you were going with a a dive at first.
No, he had a wobble and he hit the ground, and then as soon as the way he hit the ground. The reason we were sitting there watching, and I looked at my wife's brother who was down to visit as well. I said, "Oh man, it's his ACL." He goes, "It didn't look bad." I said, "No, it's the fact his face when he hit the ground,
and the way
that he waved them over. He's already done this to himself once. He knows what it feels like. You know that look. He knew. That's so brutal, I hate that. Kevin Molino, was helped us win a lot of games here in the USL, and you just don't want to see that. Good player and has a good chemistry with Enchi. He plays well under Adrian Heath, but yeah, we lose 2-1. I'm
long year.
I'm not too worried. And
we're looking forward to the next home game though, which is in 2 weeks,
where we get Sasha back for our first home game against the Red Bulls.
Yeah, man,
it should be good.
Can't wait for that one. I have that day off. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, long year. Go into the next game here. The flight of MLS. We cover 4 games, and then we kind of talk about the others.
Yeah, just to let you know, we kind of do that and as we wrap up the Premier League, and then we'll switch over and we've
kind of cover every game a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more. So Columbus, though, with another win, 2 in a row against Montreal Impact.
# save the crew. Although, gotta say, pictures from the stadium, not good. Very empty.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like I said, when I was up there last summer or two summer, whenever I was up there, it was spotty at best. I enjoyed it. I had fun. It's a cool stadium.
They had a good run last year. They should have had more people there.
You got to. It's a Saturday night. It's against the Impact. Higuain gets on the score sheet with the penalty, and then Zardes gets another 2, so that brings us total up to 3 on the year already. And Columbus, yeah, they made some moves in the offseason, but some of those are paying off early for them, and they're looking good early. Will it be enough to keep him in Columbus, though?
No, not if the stadium stays like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be a jerk, but if I own it and I'm looking out there, I'm thinking I could be making more money somewhere else. I mean, like, it's a business.
It's a business. Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I want to skip this match and go back to your third match. So I want to go to you listed these in order, but I want to go to the fourth match now, and then we'll go to the third.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So in our other flight of MLS matches, we're talking about Atlanta United, DC United. Atlanta United, 72,035 people.
Once again,
at this
breaking
MLS
record, single game.
Packed the place out. I don't know what the deal is, if they will always open up that entire stadium for all these games, but I'd love to see how this goes, because this is just good for the sport in the States, man. Because you want to see people who have the money seeing what can happen. Oh, yeah. If you go and do your team and do your stadium right, that you
have to do the team right, which is what they've done.
Oh yeah, we talked before.
Compiled a very good young team. And the first thing they did was they hired one of the best coaches who's in MLS right now. So yes, but hopefully you see the money people who want to invest in teams or make teams. David Beckham, Miami. Do it like this. There are two ways to do it. One is the slow rise. That would be your Orlando City.
That's what Orlando City does. Like if Louisville gets into the MLS at some point, they've been doing that. They've been doing like the minor league USL, Cincinnati. Like that would be sort of the Orlando way of doing it. The other way is obviously people come in and want to start a franchise. If you're going to start a franchise like the Beckham Group is with Miami, you got to look at Atlanta. Like that. That's the way to do it.
They're kind of laying the foundation or the beginning works of how to do it. They've been, and all 72,035 people got their money's worth in this, because yes, Atlanta United won 3-1, but they had Joseph Martinez on the score sheet, Miguel Almiron, Hector Villanueva. I mean, they had their big guns all on the score sheet here, scoring some fantastic goals.
And I know,
and playing very, very well, expansive football.
I know last week, the prior week, Orlando tied with DC United. Again, missing some key players. But looking at the stats, DC United, it said, is DC United going to be better this year? Now I realize Atlanta had a great game. They lose 3-1. I actually think DC United is going to have just as bad a year. Because if you look at the stats in 2 games that DC has had, that does not bode well. Like we just said, so Orlando sucks. They lost to Minnesota United, but I'm not freaking out yet because our possession, our passing percentage, those things lead me to believe we've got room to get better. DC United, their stats are sitting where they were last year in terms of passing completions, in terms of possession. So in terms of, attacking, we just got to see. I still think DC United might have a bit of a struggle.
And they only had 1 shot on goal.
Exactly. Atlanta United, though, man, I'm not taking anything away from them, though, by saying that. Great game. They're going to be competitive this year. They're going to the playoffs. Like, I mean, I got no doubts.
Playoffs?
I got no doubts. Now, I wanted to the reason I skipped is because the last match we're talking about here, Real Salt Lake won away or at home against LAFC, who scored 5 friggin' goals.
2 straight wins from them. They won
the stink of Swansea is no longer on
Bob Bradley.
Yeah.
They won their second game in 5-1
How many goals have they scored now?
I think it's 7.
Yeah,
7 or 6. 6. Because they only scored 1, but they beat Seattle in Seattle. On opening weekend. I want to change your headlines. Wow, how good are LAFC? I think I tweeted this. Is LAFC the new Atlanta? Because, Atlanta came out the gates last year as a new club. And LAFC, woo. I don't know. They could be better than Atlanta. And here's why.
Yeah.
They have...
Well, one, they're in the West. I think that helps a little bit.
I disagree. I think it was easier for Atlanta to be in the East and put themselves... The West, I think, is very competitive, and you stay within this... I don't know. But they've done it. They've done it right. They brought in a DP player in Carlos Vela, who's at the peak of his career right now. He's like 28 years old, Mexican international. He has a goal, 2 goals and an assist so far, I think. Good DP player. You also bring in Benny Feilhaber, a veteran of the league.
And one of my favorite names in MLS to say.
Fantastic. He got on the score sheet in this. But great in midfield. Diego Rossi. What a signing this young kid is. Uruguayan or Paraguayan. I have to...
Also, can I say, I hate to say it, but I freaking love their jerseys. That black and
Oh,
gold.
the YouTube TV?
Yeah.
the YouTube TV ones. But they've done it. But going back to kind of your point, I think what they did was they looked at Atlanta and see, how do we get a mix of what teams have done in terms of the NYCFCs with Villa and bringing in a big name, and then what Atlanta did, not necessarily bringing in big names, but bringing in young, talented players from South America. They've kind of had a mix of that. And so far, it's only 2 games, so it's real early. But they're looking good. I mean, they're looking competitive. They're looking bright. They're
Bob
looking
Bradley, no
good.
slouch of a coach. That's a good coach to bring in.
Oh, hell yeah, too. That is another. I mean, that quite possibly is their biggest signing, and they got him on fairly early.
So he got to be
before
part
some of the moves.
Yep, he got to be part of making the team. The other thing I'll say is this the change we're going to see next? We're already starting to see younger players come to MLS to choose to come here earlier in their career. Is the next phase going to be the coaches? Is that the real next phase to getting the improvement, the overall?
Why
play?
not?
And I think that might be what happens. But excited to see Bob Bradley doing well.
Yeah,
I hated what happened to him at Swansea.
Absolutely,
he got put in a very untenable situation.
Yeah. And like I said, Diego Rossi was a Uruguayan young player. He already has 3 goals on the year and an assist, 8 shots in 2 games. He is good. He looks real good, and it's exciting to see LAFC. It's also exciting to see kind of a funny note, but also a serious note, because Will Ferrell, how good is he?
He needs to be interviewed before every game.
But he has such passion for this club already, and it shows. But such passion with who Will Ferrell is as a comedian, as a personality, is great. It's wonderful for LAFC. It was brilliant pairing of the two.
We got me, you, and Ryan pool some lottery money or something. We need to be partial owners of the team.
Listen, we're not on the Will Ferrell status we're way far.
Status, get the money. That's the lottery. We gotta keep buying them scratch offs. We gotta keep when the lottery gets $500,000 here or whatever. God, you're because I gotta be honest. Everybody's like, well, so if you won that when that last one got almost up to $1 billion or whatever it was, what would you do? And I was like, well, 2 things. First, I'm going to put a billboard up in LA and say, are you a struggling writer that no one's given a chance to read your script? Give it to me. I have $75 million. We're going to make your movie. Just because I want to make a movie. 2 would be, I would totally go to the UK and find some 2nd, 3rd, or 4th level team. Dude, we're moving to this little bitty town. 2 things are happening. We're buying into this team. I'm going to build a little craft brew pub.
Yeah.
Right here, man. That's what's happening.
Oh, the Brewtiful Game jersey with the...
Oh, you kidding, dude? Abso-friggin-lutely.
Oh, Sutton United welcomes... Yes.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's what I would do.
I love it. I don't even know if I'd be kind of off topic. I don't know if I want to invest in owning a team. I want to enjoy the sport so much. You got to do what Will Ferrell did. I enjoy it.
You invest as part of an ownership group. You let someone else do the work. You just freaking go enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Wear a scarf, do some interviews.
Whatever.
A pint every now and again.
Give me to pass the pies, pass the pints. Life
sit up in the box, get your picture taken. Yeah, that's great.
Done. I mean, Bournemouth, we love Bournemouth. They are on the beach. I mean, obviously, they're in the Premier League. I don't think we couldn't do that.
Could we buy them if we win?
I would not. We need a lot more money, but they're on the beach, though, so that's why I like that one.
But if we all win the lottery.
Or can we get a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th level club in Germany, and then the beer we know is top notch?
The Bundesliga 2.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm still playing for them in FIFA, in Bundesliga 2 right now.
Are you?
Yeah. Blakey's out there playing right now for them.
You got to move up there, fella.
Well, I held off. I got an offer, but I was holding off. Waiting for the Premier League.
Wait for the big money. Absolutely.
Wait for the big money. So moving on, I think the only other thing I'd mentioned from the other games we're not really covering is that Dave Villa gets a 100th MLS game in NYCFC.
In his 100th game, he gets off the mark.
In his 100th game.
Yeah,
and they win against LA Galaxy.
Yeah, that was an awesome game. That was on Sunday. They won 2-1. Revs leave it late against the Rapids to earn Brad Friedel his first win in Gillette Stadium, 2-1. 7-goal thriller in Chicago sees KC earn their first win, 4-3. Kai Kamara scores his 100th goal in the MLS. Yes, I believe that's that. And Brek Shea gets on the score sheet as the Whitecaps put 3 past the Dynamo. And Carlos Riva scores 2.
I know!
Where the hell did that come from? He usually skies him high and dry, and he's putting 2 in the back of the net as the Red Bulls just run rampant against the Timbers. 4-0, but Carlos Rivas with the brace? What the hell, man? Where was that in Orlando?
Because he had that one he poked in from short distance we were all astonished by, because we assumed he'd just kick it over the state, and everything else was sky high. So hey, you know what? Maybe he got the right guy to talk to him or coach. Who knows?
Never. I mean, I hope he does well, but good Lord, where was that when you were here?
But yeah, so St. Patty's Day sees a slew of great matches.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, how fun would it be to go to the Orlando match at NYCFC and be there for the St. Patty's Day, be there for the parade.
It's like a 3:40 something game, and that'd be nice. It's also
just take the subway to whatever Irish bar that's too full, but it doesn't matter. You just
who
go.
the hell cares?
Yeah. Oh my God,
that would be awesome.
Now that's what I want to do.
Yes.
On Saturday.
Let me fly up there on the next day now. Before we get into MLS, you'll see a mix of Premier League FA Cup this weekend in England. As well. Check your local listings. Check World
Soccer Talk.
Thank you. World Soccer Talk for listings, how to watch, what times, and all of that. Great site. If you guys please follow them, listen to their podcast. You can find all good info there, and where to watch everything here in the States. But yeah, I mean,
good folks.
Here, yes, very good. And here in the States, it's kicking it off, the MLS, with New York City FC and Orlando City and Yankee Stadium.
That would be so fun to be in New York for that. Oh my gosh, that'd be such a blast. Well, my friend.
Well, hold on. Before we, DC United, Dynamo, Minnesota United, Chicago Fire, Philadelphia Union, Columbus Crew, Montreal Impact, Toronto FC, Atlanta United, Vancouver Whitecaps, Sporting KC, San Jose Earthquakes, Real Salt Lake, New York Red Bulls is your St. Patty's Day fixtures in the MLS. And then capping off St. Patty's Day weekend, you got FC Dallas and Seattle Sounders on the 18th.
Calling Dallas. Seattle has a 2-game slide.
Yeah, I'll call Dallas as well.
Yeah. Well, as always, you can check everything out on thebrutifulgame.com. If you listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever, please leave a rating or review. If you do, get in touch. Whoever left that last one, please still let us know. Would love to get
reach out to us.
We'll get if you take a screenshot of whatever your review is, send it to us on Twitter or email, whatever. We'll get a koozie out to you. We might even have a few magnets left. If you want any t-shirts, go to our website, thebrutifulgame.com. Just click on t-shirts. You'll see those there, made by a great local company here. A great mom and pop business. So support some as we drink local, shop local. Also, let's see what else we got. Well, obviously you can find us on Untapped. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We're on @Brewtiful Game. You can find us on Instagram. Reach out anytime. Yeah. Especially on game days when we're all sitting there chatting about matches. I think that's all of our stuff.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're missing something, but if you hit up any one of those, you'll find.
I know you feel like this is only episode 83. I would have remembered everything that we say at the end of the episode.
We are unscripted here.
Thanks for the intro music and outro music from Tartan Terrors. I bring them up.
We don't. Yes,
it's a Celtic group from Toronto, or just outside of Toronto, Hamilton. I used to play with them. That's actually my song that I wrote. That's our intro in and out called Whiskey Fairy, and I want to bring those dudes up because they're a Celtic rock band. They are Celtic. I guess just a Celtic band in general, but guitars, bagpipes, bass, Scottish, Irish music, and they always do big St. Patty's Day celebrations. Awesome. And I miss playing with those dudes. They were tons of fun when I used to play with them. So I want to give a big shout out to them for St. Patty's Day because I know they are playing a ton of gigs right now, all the way through the weekend. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
All right, man. Well, it's always a good one. Always
Absolutely.
a pleasure. Thanks for bringing the Guinness. This hit the spot.
Yeah. Great
Love
beer.
the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.
Cilantro, have a safe, happy, fun St. Patty's Day weekend.
Happy St. Patty's Day. Don't drink green beer that's like Budweiser dyed green. Drink good stuff. Although I'm curious at the Ellipsis Brewing about their craft.
You're going to have to try whatever green beer.
Craft green beer. Come on. Keep it Guinness or Murphy Stout or something really Irish. For real.
Hashtag Michael Flatley.